a podcast by Cembra.
Il podcast della Cipra.
Le podcast de la Cipra.
Der Cembra Podcast.
Ciprim Podcast.
Interviews, background talks, and voices from all Alpine countries. Listen to this and more in the podcast of the International Commission for the Protection of the Alps, www.cipra.org/podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast Rethinking Youth Migration in the Alps, a Cembra podcast series exploring how movement of young people shapes life in the Alpine region. My name is Laura.
And I'm Hannah, and together we are hosting the OUT4INGOV podcast. OUT4INGOV is a transnational project where we focus on the topic of in and out migration in the Alpine region and how regions can turn the challenges of youth migration into meaningful opportunities for their future. In this three-part series, we dive into current migration trends in the Alps, learn from real-life examples in 3 pilot regions, and explore what can Alpine regions do to remain vibrant and attractive for young people.
Well, Hannah, it's nice to sit here with you again. This is our third and sadly last episode of the series, and today we will discuss directly with young people who have been involved in this project. In our first 2 episodes, we looked at the big brain drain trends and heard from the regions directly, from Trentino, Maribor and Vesoul in France, and about the pilot initiatives they launched to keep their young people involved in shaping the life in their regions.
I'm also sad that this is our last episode. I have to say that I really enjoyed doing this with you, Laura. But I'm also excited for today, because today we are kind of doing something different. We are handing over the microphone. We are exercising what we are talking about and actually speaking directly to the young people who were involved in the pilots of the project. And we want to hear their personal stories and their vision for the Alps. So this episode is more of a personal one, if I can call it like that.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. So let's jump right into it, and I'd say we can start with Maribor, a city in Slovenia, and as we heard in episode 2, the goal there was to bridge the gap between youth and policymakers through a consultative body.
Yeah, but what was implemented and what are the key insights, those Elida will tell us. She is a young person who is part of this consultative body. So let's really directly hear some of her main insights on this practice.
I moved to Maribor in September last year to start my master's degree in the University of Maribor. And I graduated from university actually 2 years ago in Istanbul, Turkey. I graduated as a mechanical engineer, and I always wanted to study abroad at some point in my life. And I had chance to visit Slovenia before, and I fell in love with the country. I really love the nature, people, and having people that are really close to me, actually also living in Maribor, were the reasons why I wanted to migrate here and start my master's studies. Migration has always been a big part of my family. Actually, my big part of family has migrated to other countries. Like I said, I'm from Turkey, and I have a lot of relatives migrated across Europe. I have family in France, Germany, and the UK. So I would say home is both emotional and practical for me. It's the memory, family, friends, language. Like right now I'm speaking English, but my native language is Turkish. Even hearing it sometimes in the streets of Maribor makes me feel emotional. I'm like, oh, okay, this is also still my home. But also the opportunity, participation, and the feeling that you can help shape the future of this place gives me motivation to be here and do something.
About the project, so you were involved in OUT4INGOV, and you were and are part of this consultative body that was set up in Maribor. What was that experience like for you?
It was totally an empowering journey. To say that moved us from being like just passive observers to active co-creators in local governance. The experience was like very practical, but we didn't just talk about the problems. We went through a structured 3-step process of priority mapping, advocacy training, and the actual proposal design. And one of the most memorable parts was for me by just like learning by doing approach, especially the role play simulations we have done with the coworkers and the friends who joined this young project, where we just acted as decision makers, as if we are the ones who are deciding the results, to understand how municipal budgets are actually allocated. And we also experienced a significant strategic shift in our own mindsets, moving away from broad idealistic complaints toward developing pragmatic, resource conscious initiatives that the city can actually implement. So it was a very nice opportunity for us to experience as young people who's living in Maribor.
Living in Maribor, you also have some impressions of the town, right? Like maybe some things that you would like improved as a young person living there. Did you feel like you had the chance to share these perspectives that you have of the city and of you existing in the city? And did you feel heard?
In Maribor specifically, I realized there are a lot of older people outside. Like I started seeing like young people only in specific areas hanging out. Like I see all of them either hanging out at the gym or specific coffee shops or like a bowling center. And like I would love to see young people more hanging out outside, doing more activities, which I feel like yes, at times there are some like concerts that are happening or festivals happening for young people to join as well. But even at them, I see more like children and older people like hanging out at those events. So I was wondering where all these young people like hanging out at, because I would love to make some friends in Maribor too. So I think maybe like Maribor like could make more events where actually like young people will love to join. Like, okay, we're doing an event for young people, but they're not even interested in join. So maybe we could change the mindset there. And yes, I had chance to actually we had chance to talk about this during these meetings, and I feel like we're heard. But yeah.
So from your side, let's say you had like a taste of what it's like to be on the side of the municipality through this role play. What would you say are, if there's like a recipe of youth participation or youth, like involving youth in decision making, like what would be some ingredients that you could like name and you would say, okay, these definitely have to be done or included by the municipality to make it really work?
I think they could definitely get some inspiration from other countries. So you don't have to be extremely original to get young people like pay attention to you. Like there are lots of good examples even around Europe. I think one thing in Maribor, I feel like they like to stay connected in this little community, and like I feel like they don't promote enough what Maribor could offer, because the nature here, like it's amazing, and I like it's rare to find, and this could be even promoted even better. Which I know, yeah, when people think of Maribor, it's nature. Okay, nice, but like still, I don't think it's promoted well enough. Just to promote what we have across even social media platforms. Right now, it's super easy to promote what you have. Like they could basically use the power of social media, in my opinion, even just by using our power, because us young people are very active on social media like TikTok, Instagram, this and that. Like we could just make nice videos, and I don't know, they could maybe start an initiative like a program where they get young people, create posts, make promotions about the city, about what Maribor can offer to young people. And the recipe would definitely include the power of young people, young minds, their ability to create such impact on promoting the word on Maribor. Yeah, I would say young people would be definitely the perfect ingredient. And of course, listening to them.
Yeah, that's definitely ties very well into the project. That's also
I
like
agree.
the whole idea that municipalities and regions cannot really develop well without involving young people. It's just not gonna work.
My message would be nothing about youth without youth. they actually put time in, they are heard, and that we see changes. So let's do it. So that would be my message.
It was really interesting to hear Elida's perspectives. I really liked what she said at the end, that if already young people dedicate their time and their ideas to provide suggestions, to provide their input, they do their part, and then the policymakers, the municipalities, they have to also do their part and make it realized, and through funding, through support to this group, and to kind of keep this conversation going with the young people. And I was also quite inspired by her concerning the fact that she is quite new now to Maribor, and she's already so motivated and so dedicated to, improve the life and the place where she is now living. So it was quite cool to feel and see that passion.
Absolutely.
So next we move to the Cembra Valley in Trentino. Laura, you were actually there recently for the pilot activities, right?
Yeah, that's right. I had the pleasure to go to a partner meeting taking place in Trento, and we were actually one full day in the Cembra Valley, where the pilot activities have been taking place. And I had the pleasure to interview 2 young people who are part of the cooperation group that they established there. So Cembra Valley, for anybody who doesn't know, it's really next to Trento, a quite steep valley, rather rural, I would say. Lots of mountains around, and lots of wine areas now. And Alberto and Steven, 2 young guys, were so kind to take the time to be interviewed by me. And we will hear a bit about their perspectives on the valley and on the project, and how they were involved in the cooperation group. Thank you for meeting with me and taking the time.
Yeah, welcome.
It's great to get some personal stories for our podcast. So my name is Laura, and maybe we can start by just quickly you introduce yourself. Who are you? What's your name? And why are you connected to this project?
My name is Steven. I'm originally from Lombardo in the Trentino South Tyrol region, and I moved in Zurich in 2020. So since 6 years I'm in Zurich. I've been around Italy also before, living in Milan, working in tech, and here I am. So it's interesting for me to understand how can I keep tight with my local community. It's a really nice project in my opinion. Thanks.
I'm Alberto Nardin. After doing a PhD here in Trento, I moved to Paris for 3 years for a postdoc research contract. And after that, actually, I recently moved back here into the valley. So, yeah, I joined the project because of that, and now I'm here doing this interview.
So, was there a moment that you had to choose whether you want to stay or you want to leave, and how did that feel for you?
Yeah, I think that the province of Trento, here we have, I would say, a really good university, and that gives you a lot of opportunity to specialize in fields where there is no much offer on the territory. It's great for many things, but if you really specialize in something, especially in tech, you don't have big company here, and then moving abroad, it's a choice, but it's a good choice that most likely you take. And Italy, of course, offers something. Like I went to Milan first, and also there you have to think, would I like to move from here, because I like this place, I like the nature, the sport opportunity it gives. I have my family here, my friends. So already there in your mind, when you choose the university, it should be already in your mind, okay, that you may move. But then also the story of Italy now, I mean, the economical situation and the offer you may get abroad, it's complicated.
Yeah, actually, I share 100% what Steven just said. I wanted to do some experience abroad, but then I miss the mountains a lot. So in the end, I decided to come back, also because my girlfriend lives close by.
You mentioned before that you moved back here to this valley, right? Back to Cembra Valley. So what helps you or helped you stay connected to this region, and why did you come back now?
Mostly because of my girlfriend living here. She works here. I actually had like an opportunity in the University of Trento again, which actually at the moment it's a bit of a complicated situation because of bureaucratic mess. But yeah, I had this opportunity, so I decided, like, I had an offer from like to stay in Paris longer, but since there was like this possibility at the time, I decided to simply come back, and like just because basically of family, friends, and beloved ones.
You also mentioned before that you are still quite connected to the area. Can you pin it down for me? What is it that makes you stay connected?
Yeah, I think first of all, everybody has a family and friends where they grow up. So that's for me the same here. Zurich is not that far, so for me it means like 5 hours by car. So I don't need to take flights, I don't need to book train in advance. So it's far, but not that far. It's still an effort because you have a limited number of vacation days, you have a limited number of weekends, and if you stay on one side, you are not on the other one. So your family grows while you are away, and they reach maybe that age that they needs you. So that was my case. Like, my father had a terminal illness, so I tried to be back. And now my mother lives alone. So also in your back mind, you always have this thought: they take care of me when I was a little kid, so it's good and it's right that I should do something for them when I grow up. And that's something that I guess everybody that will live these valleys, not just here in Trentino, but in all the Alps, but also from South Italy, other people that are going away from their reality will need to fight in their minds sooner or later, because they are forming a new family maybe abroad, but they need to take care of their own family that maybe remains here. And that, I think, is the first point that you need to evaluate.
So you were both involved in the activities of this project, of the OUT4INGOV project related to the Cembra Valley. What was that experience like for you? Can you sum up for me a little bit how this project is related to youth migration and maybe your own migration stories?
I feel that just sharing your experience with other people is really valuable. I think it's helpful also for new people that are evaluating to where to go to migrate. They do not know about maybe the bureaucracy of the place they are going to. You don't speak the language. You don't know what you have to do. So having someone that tells you what to do and stuff can be really helpful.
Young people that want to go abroad, mostly they have not a complete idea of what it means to go abroad. And what the facilitator, Tommaso, did in different WhatsApp group, which is part of the outcome of this project, is trying to push people that live abroad, like us, or that want to leave, to really tell which was our experience. So I found myself thinking back of when I decided to leave, what moved me to leave, and which were the challenges that I encountered on my path, and writing down on WhatsApp, trying to give something back to the community. And I thought, Stephen, you may also end up writing a book, because it's really an interesting thing. So I'm taking all these thoughts and I'm putting them together, and you go from the difficulty on the bureaucracy part, in integration, in all the different cultures that you find in the territories, and all the different way of doing things, which could be also, I don't know, throw in the trash. You do it in a different way. Registering at the municipality is a different thing. Paying the television is another thing. So you have all these differences, and all the struggle you have in your mind also when you leave, all the processes, telling people, okay, you can find the value if you go abroad, but be aware there are a lot of challenges. And to me, there is not that awareness. Not that I would not leave if I knew it beforehand, but it would have been helpful to be prepared.
So if you could send one message to the local decision makers about youth migration, what would that be?
So to me, the first thing that needs to be done is to create awareness in both the thing. So in what it means to go abroad, And this project is exactly going into this direction, because it's not a question of facilitating people going out. You need to create both channels, one way outside and return way inside in the territory, because you create a lot of value from people that go abroad, live different cultures, and come back with an open mind and can also bring this value back to the territory. But people need to be aware that there are challenges going back and there are challenges in coming back. And there are also a lot of initiatives. So there are associations that are active in the territory. Trentino del Mondo is one, for instance, here in Trentino region, that helps people, that connect people that are already abroad with people that want to live. But people don't know them. So students go away. I didn't know it was existing, and I knew it after it. So if you know already that there are project, association, or policies to help people in exploring also the outer world, is a good starting point. And as well, there are other policies, like there are policies for people that want to come back. The province of Trento has some particular law that helps people also with funds to come back, which I didn't know. So the awareness part, both in going outside, but also on the way back, to have this awareness, to me, is key. And this should be the first pillar.
Alberto?
Yeah, I think I completely agree, because also, like, if you can build on this awareness in a second moment, it is possible that other people that are actually migrating inside these valleys will be facilitated by this experience of people going out of it. I mean, you have the experience of going out, and you can build on it to facilitate people going out in a different direction, basically. And I think that's really helpful, and that can be actually the added value of the project to the local administrations.
Guys, it's good if you go abroad, you discover new culture, you discover new places. Think back, have an eye back to your place, because you grow up there, and it's always important to keep tie with it.
This was a really interesting conversation that you had with Alberto and Steven. What is one thing that kind of stuck with you after coming back and reflecting on the talk that you had with them?
I mean, thinking about what we discussed, it's quite clear that if you come from a rather rural place, you will have to think about moving away for your studies or for work opportunities. But the reason why people are coming back, or also why people are connected, very often are personal relationships. So having a job and having a flat where you can live that's affordable, these are kind of prerequisites, and maybe also pull factors to a certain extent. But what I heard from Alberto and from Steven is that they really had these personal reasons, like relationships, relatives to care for, and relatives they want to be close to. That really make them still being connected and make them come back again to this small valley where they are from originally.
So with this in mind, we can move to our final stop, which is Vesoul in France. Their pilot used an observatory approach to gather data and spark debate on why young people stay or go. Can you explain this observatory to us briefly, Lara?
I mean, very often smaller towns and communities, they don't even have data on who is migrating out of the town or also coming in, and what may be the reasons for that. So I think that's where really Vesoul docked on, and they tried to establish this observatory where they did interviews and other processes of gathering data and finding indicators that represent the migration movement around this community. And so today we had the pleasure to talk to a young person from Vesoul who is actually not from that town, but she moved to Vesoul at a certain point and is now still living and working there. And we will hear from her what it is like to live in a smaller rural community.
Welcome, Celestine. We are very happy to have you here.
Hi.
To jump in, you could describe how does the topic of youth migration affect young people in your region?
For my studies, I move a lot in Bourgogne-Franche-Comté region. So I met a lot of young people who came from far away of the region. So for me, in Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, I found that school are in big cities. So we need to move away when we want to study some specialty. So that's why a lot of people move from the cities where they're born to study cities.
You were moving away from your hometown, but then you were moving several times to different places to study?
Yes. Always for my studies. And it was something I want. I always tell to my parents that when I can move from far away of Lons-le-Saunier, I do it. So I do it when I was 15.
Wow.
And I never come back home.
Are you now still connected somehow to your hometown where your parents live?
Yes, I go in Lons something like one time a month. But I don't want to go back home for work or live there.
So we heard that you were part of a workshop that was incorporated in this project OUT4INGOV, and we'd love to know a little bit more about that. Could you maybe tell us what were your biggest takeaways from taking part in this workshop?
There are a lot of young people for move for studies or for a job, and I see it's not just here; it's all around the world. But now cities are in charge now to develop offers to host people and keep them in the cities. And for me, that's why this project were born, because young people move in big cities and don't really come back like I do in their born cities.
What are the challenges of Vesoul now, and what would it take to make it a place where young people want to return to?
Vesoul, it's a town when life is good. I can do that. Can tell that because it's not a too big city, not a too small city. You can find what you want, what you need, and you can do all in 5 minutes. So for me, it's a good place to live. I stay because my boyfriend have a company here, so that's why we are in Vesoul.
So what changes would you like to see in Vesoul when it comes to youth migration?
I think it's important for young people to have someone or something can help them find a house, an internship, or to be in relation with companies. They are something, when you come somewhere, you need to have something or someone can help you to integrate you in that region, in that city or company or school. And you can do that with your friends, but if you don't know nobody where you come, for me, you need to have something like that to help you.
If you imagine now that to this podcast there is some local leaders who would listen to it, what would you say? What kind of message would you send to them?
I would like to say it's important to help young people to involve, to take account of their opinion and offer the job they can match with their diplomas. It's really important. For me, I have this experience. I have my double master degree, and the first job they offer to me, it's a secretary job. So that was not exactly what I want. I think this project is really nice and really important because now I don't study, but when I was a student, it was really hard to move. It was the beginning because people I met in college, there are not a lot of people move. I was the only one, and years after years, I see a lot of people arrive from far away of the region, and sometimes on the other side of France. But it was really hard to arrive like that, and it's good to have someone can help or something can help.
What was really interesting now that we heard these different perspectives is that often migration is really talked about in a very negative sense, and that it's what are the challenges around it, what are the issues, the concerns, problems that are to be solved. But when we are actually talking with young people, it's a part of their life often. It's very natural that if you grow up somewhere, you want to maybe study somewhere else. You move because you have study opportunities somewhere else, or you, as you said, for private reasons. It's just a part of their life, but that doesn't mean that they cannot bring these ideas and these experiences to the new place they live. And it also doesn't mean that they can't be connected anymore to the place they came from. So for me, it was interesting to hear from all four of them actually that they have very much this eagerness and willingness to be actually these anchors of change in the areas that they live in.
Yeah, I think migration really, and this touches on the exact point of this project, migration can have benefits for all of the involved parties, right? For the regions where the people leave, but they are still connected somehow, which we heard of from all of the people we interviewed, but also for the regions where they moved to, like in the case of Elida, where she moved to a different country and still she's so involved and so passionate about making changes and contributing positively to the place where she now lives. And I think that's really inspiring about the whole migration topic, to, as you said, to kind of reframe it from just being a burden for the areas where people live, but rather also it can be an opportunity for the regions where the young people move to, but also for the regions where they live, they can stay still connected and bring back knowledge, bring back experiences that they gathered somewhere else.
And so with that being said, we have sadly come to the end of this 3-part podcast series. Thank you, Laura, for doing this with me, or doing this together.
Well, thank you.
And thank you all who have been listening and who joined us on this journey across the Alps.
The OUT4INGOV project does not end here. The models that we have tested, they are still gonna be continued hopefully in the regions, and they hopefully continue to have impact. Our website will still stay online, and the partnership will continue to stay in contact working on these topics. It was a pleasure to moderate this podcast with you, and thank you for all the people who contributed, for the people who took time to being interviewed and share their experiences with us.
And thank you to all of you who listened to this podcast, and thank you for joining us on this journey across the Alps.
Podcast by Cembra.
Il podcast della Cipra.
Le podcast de la Cipra.
Der Cembra Podcast.
Cyprian Podcast.
Interviews, background talks, and voices from all Alpine countries. Listen to this and more in the podcast of the International Commission for the Protection of the Alps, www.cipra.org/podcast.